So today I've got another story that revolves around taking the drugs. You know, the no-no substances that you should not take. In this video, I'll be talking about edibles and my experience with them. So it all started one day in my dorm, a week or two before fall break, where I was talking to my roommate. And while I was talking to him, the topic of edibles is brought up, which got me thinking because I wanted to try some during break and I would like to buy some off him. He accepts, he hands me a packet of edible gummies and I pay him. The edibles were gummies and there were 10 of them in total, and each gummy had 20 milliliters of marijuana in it for a combined total of 200 milliliters. Fast forward towards the end of fall break, and I am in a Discord call with two of my friends who we'll call Dexter and Kevin. We were playing CSGO and warming up in some casual games. All of a sudden, I remember that I have not used the edibles, and I mentioned this to them. Instantly, they tell me that I should take some of the edibles and see how I feel. And me being relatively new to all of this, asks them how much I should take. Dexter tells me that I should take all of them because he believed I could handle it despite having no prior experience. And I'm a bit uncertain because I heard from some of my dorm mates that 200 milliliters is a lot, is a high dosage for edibles, especially at once. However, Dexter insists that I can handle it. I reluctantly decided to eat the edibles. While I knew they would taste slightly different from traditional gummies as they were, laced with marijuana, I was still unprepared for what I tasted. The taste was like someone decided to taint gummies, was like some sort of like dirt. I know it's not really like a dirt taste, but that's the only best way I can describe it. So, in short, it did not taste good and I struggled to finish the packet. A short disclaimer before I continue with the story, though, is that this story may or may not be real. With that in mind, I'm going to continue on with the story. I knew something was up when Dexter asked me if I had finished the packet, and when I said I was nearly done with it, because at that point I finished up 7 of the 10 pieces, he got a little bit nervous. He was like, "Oh shit, maybe that might have not been a good idea." At this point, the edibles were all consumed, and we were queuing up for a competitive game in CSGO. I mentioned that I don't feel anything, and they said that I would in due time. I said I wasn't sure, and all I'm gonna say is, how little did I know? The competitive game loads in, and we start playing. Nothing interesting really happened in the first half of the game, aside from some basic gameplay. We kill the enemy team, they kill us, and call outs based on where they are. Things started to get interesting during the second half of the competitive CSGO game when all of a sudden the edibles started to kick in. I instantly start to feel a sense of lightheadedness and this rush flowed to my head. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it was like okay at first, but as it like started to go on and intensify, I started to panic a bit because I was not used to this at all. When the rush really started kicking in, our comp game was all but finished. I remember I hazily moved my character through, and it was really hard to shoot in precision time as everything felt distant and otherworldly to me, as if I was viewing someone over my body. My high was not finished though, and it continued to pour out in my head, making me sleepy and dizzy. After a while of this sensation and me telling Dexter and Kevin about it, Dexter left because he wanted to go sleep, leaving Kevin and I together. Kevin and I chatted for a bit, But as time went on, I was becoming more and more delirious, mumbling to myself and complaining about the pain I felt. Eventually, this reached a breaking point as, over the course of me talking to Kevin, I had been building up a slow but steady urge to vomit. And this had been going on for the past 30 minutes, and it finally broke, and I had to rush to the sink. Right as I get to the sink, I cannot hold it anymore, and I instantly let forth a stream of vomit. After a few minutes of barfing and gagging, I walked my way back to my laptop. However, a few minutes later, I was near the sink again, retching. It got so bad that eventually my dad noticed and came over to see what was going on. When he arrived, he was frantic, asking me what happened, like, was it something I ate, something bad, etc., about why I'm vomiting. After a bit of back and forth with him, he eventually left me be and I dragged my way back to the laptop. There I found out that I never muted my mic and Kevin heard everything, from the vomiting to my dad. Yeah, that was a fun experience. From that point forward, events were relatively uneventful as Kevin eventually had to leave because his Wi-Fi cuts out at around 12:15 in the night, and from there I simply dragged myself onto the couch to sleep. But my dad was like, "No, you gotta sleep in your bed, son." So I dragged myself up to my bed and slept there. The next day I woke up extremely lethargic and tired as the effects of the edibles had not completely worn up. They lasted until the day was nearly over. Later on in the night, Dexter messaged me asking about my experience. I told him that was not good and that he overestimated my abilities for to handle edibles, and then he just asked for a voice chat. We talk about our experience. We later on invite Kevin and we just play some more CS:GO for the night. And that about sums up my edible experience. See you guys next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and also share this video. I'm about to head off now. See ya.
Finish a survey term of 2 years on that.